Hey, welcome to Kate's Crafts. I'm Kate. Have you ever been in a predicament where you're in need of a quick and easy birthday card? One that's fun and a little exciting, but okay to toss in the mail? Today I would like to show you what I made for such an occasion. Let's get started. Here I've got a T-square ruler, and I am just kind of lining up the happy birthday that I'm using from the Offset Sayings birthday stamp set. And the cake that I have here is the cake from the birthday before and after stamp set, both by Fawn. And I am stamping this out twice in My Favorite Things Extreme Black. Now I've got a piece of this Therm-O web purple tape, and I want to create a mask with it to go over the birthday cake. So I'm going to ink that up once more just in case there's not enough ink, and make an impression on that tape. And I'll set that aside for right now, but I'm using the carpet in the Christmas Dreams stamp set because I don't have anything that closely resembles a plate other than this carpet. So what we'll do is we'll pretend the carpet's really a plate. But here I have the Therm-O web tape, and I'm cutting my mask. And as I'm cutting it, I'm cutting along the black stamp line, so that way I get the same size as my stamp, and it makes a perfect mask every time. So once I've got that patted down, I'm taking some Distress Oxide ink in mustard seed, and I'm trying to create a little bit of a halo here around the top candles and give it a little glow here. So now that I've got that down packed, I'm going to ink up that carpet / plate, and I'm going to stamp that out twice. And once that's done, I'll be able to do the best part of everything: peel and reveal. Ta-da! I really like how that turned out. I think it looks really neat. And here I am using the little birthday cake from that stamp set, and I'm going to use the sentiment in that same stamp set that says, "Hope your day is filled with surprises." And I'm just going to use my T-square ruler, and I'm going to line that up a little bit. Make sure that's on the door, and then I'm going to, again, stamp it out with the same kind of ink. I've always got that ink on my desk. It never seems to leave. So I'm going to press that down and then ink it up again. That way I get a nice crisp image. And there you go. I've got the inside of the card done. On the outside here, I've got Sakura Stardust pen, and it's in yellow, and I'm just kind of giving a little twinkle to these lights here. And this one is like a pinkish one that I'm just putting like a little dot in the center, give it more of a realistic look. Here I am going in with some R85, and that is a rose red, and I am creating some shadows along the cake frosting, which I think would be a vanilla frosting that was tinted pink to make the birthday cake a little more festive. I rather like this combination of pink, basically because this is probably the only combination of pink that I actually have in my collection. I have a lot of reds and a lot of earth tones. I mean, a lot of earth tones out of all of the colors that I have. But I'm slowly building up my collection. I don't want all the markers. I just want a good handful of them. But, yeah, I'll get there. But for now, this is what I'm going to use. This R83, and that is a Rose Mist, I believe. Top here, I'm just going to create a little bit of shadow to kind of go with the glow of the candles, and not so dark as the sides. Now I'm going to go in with this R81, which is a rose pink, to kind of blend all of that out and make it look all soft and glowy. Next, I'm going to go in with this BV2 prune color and kind kind of create a little bit of a shadow, and then next I'm going to go in with this BV01, which I think it's a viola, however you pronounce it. I didn't really notice much of a difference between the two, I think because they're so close in color, but this BV000, I think it's called iridescent mauve, or again, however you pronounce that word. I noticed there was a significant difference in the lightness of it. So here I have my E15, which is a dark suntan. It's probably one of my favorite browns. Eventually I need to get the E13 because I don't have the mid-tone, and I use the tip-to-tip method when I'm using the E11 and E15. I had to take off both caps of the E11 because I was dripping there. You could see it on my workstation. Here I'm using the Sakura Stardust pen in pink, and I go back again in with a little bit of purple to kind of give it a candied look to the cake. And for the present, I am using this BB2, which is the prune color, and creating a little bit of a shadow with it. This one is the BB1. I'm going to blend that in. Again, I didn't really notice much of a difference between the two. And then I'm using the BB000 for that. And for the ribbon, again, I'm going back in with the R85 to kind of make this all look matchy-matchy to the outside of the cake, or the card, matching the cake. You know what I mean. So this R83 is just going to blend that out again. As you know, I have way too much fun blending out these colors. I probably use more than is warranted for each of these small little images, but I just find it fun. So here you have the inside and the outside panel of the card, and I've used an outside in stitched rectangle die to cut these out, and I noticed the edges were just a little bit frayed, so I'm taking a mono sand eraser and kind of sanding off the edges to make them a little cleaner. Here I'm just using some double-sided score tape to tape that down. I think that is 1/8 of an inch, I think. And I'm going to peel off the release tape on the back and stick that down into the card. I really like the color of this gray card base with the purples and the pinks. I think it's rather pretty. I'm just checking to see if I like that, and I think I do. But we're going to take it one step further, and we are going to add some cellophane to it. You can get a roll of cellophane for like wrapping baskets from the dollar store, or if you have leftover cellophane from, a package or something, as long as it's clean, you can use it, cut it down to size, and tape it to your paper. So I'm going to take some more of that 1/8 of an inch tape and tape it down, but I want to make sure that it's secure, so I'm taping it twice. I mean, I could have used a thicker tape, but I hadn't ordered my new tape in yet, and I wasn't sure at this point of making the card if I was going to order any more in the near future or not. So I had found a deal at one of my favorite scrapbook stores, and I ended up picking up some the week of this recording, and I was quite pleased to get it, but I didn't have a whole lot of it at the time, and I didn't want to waste my tape on this, and I don't really use the 1/8 of an inch tape too much because it's so small, so I figured I'd use it. I use the other ones way more. I think I've got a 1/2 inch and a 1/4 inch tape, so this stuff comes in handy. I do like the handheld tape runners though, but I find that I burn through those quite quickly if I'm not careful, and the replacements for those can add up quite fast. But I'm still learning about it all. I recently got a new one that I'm going to try out, and it seems to be a little less expensive than the stuff that I was buying at Michael's. Oh, so here I'm just cutting off the little corners there, so when I fold up this cellophane to the paper, it won't have so much bulk in the corners. So I'm going to take off all this release tape and fiddle with it some more. Oh, and trim that off right there because I need it a little bit more trimmed off. But I'm going to fold the bottom over the top of that release tape. And then I'm going to fold up the sides. But I'm going to wait to fold the top because I want this to be a bit of a pocket. And with that excess cellophane, I'm just going to trim it off. I don't want too much bulk on the back of it. So, trimming it off, giving it a haircut, you know, fiddling with it. I kind of did this card on the fly. I got inspired and just had to do it, mess and all. So here's where I run into trouble. I have so many little bags of glitters and flat sequins and flat little shimmery pieces and shapes, and I never know which ones to pick. So here I've got a handful, all of different brands. I think these little ones without the names on them I got in like a package from Michael's. It was like one of those, I don't know, make your own book kind of thing or make your own cards, and it was like heavily discounted, and not that I really needed it, but you always need sequins and glitter and whatnot for, you know, things like this. And well, I was a little too concerned about putting too many of the sequins in, so I was doing a little pinch here and a little pinch there at a time because I didn't want too much of one or another. But with glitter, because it's so small, I mean, you could just dump it right in there. And the thing with the flat shaker cards too is that you don't want anything with too much dimension in it, because there is no like well for them to move around in. They're just kind of floating around inside the little tiny pocket with the little minimal space that they have. But it's still really pretty. I like flat shaker cards. I think they're really, really neat. I've only probably made a handful of these so far. So dusting that off to the side because I don't know where I put my little Swiffer pad at. I'm taking off the top release tape and I'm just going to fold that off and make sure that's nice and sealed and check it out on the front of the card. And I didn't feel that the shaker bit had the right amount of strength to it, although I probably didn't really need this step, but I decided to anyway. I put the same color of the cardstock. I cut that out with the outside in stitched rectangle die to create a backing for the shaker card. I think I was a little overzealous with this and probably could have skipped this step. Excuse me. So here you can see how much tape I have left on these rolls and why I didn't want to use a whole lot of it, but I don't know, I'm happy to have more tape because you can never have enough tape. So now that I've got that done, I'm going to peel off these release papers and get ready to stick this down. So as I'm fiddling with this, I think I should probably add some glue just to make sure, because you'll see in a second that I didn't get it quite lined up and needed to pull it back up. But I like to use like a stamping positioner, either my Hampton Arts one or the mini Misti, depending on what I have at hand and generally what isn't buried in a pile of paper mess that I've made. So yeah, you can see I didn't line it up real quick. That's what that glue is there for. It does create a stronger adhesion, but I can be kind of messy there. So now that I've got that backing on there, I'm peeling off the release tape that I put down prior to gluing it together, and I'm going to position this on top of the card. But I find if I put a piece of tape in between the card, I can kind of line that up and give that a center look with the gray border of the cardstock. And there you have it, a finished flat shaker card. I really had fun making this. It's simple and easy to do, and this card is actually for a friend of mine who recently had her birthday. So she'll be a little late getting this card, but if she's watching this birthday card video, happy birthday. I really hope you had a good day, and you'll be getting this in the mail soon. If you enjoyed today's content or found it helpful, please give this video a like. I also welcome you to subscribe as I post videos weekly. Here's another one I think you might like watching. Thank you for hanging out with me. Take care.